Hello friends, today we learn My English Course Book Standard 9th and the lesson 1.2 The Fun They Had. So let's enjoy and understand it.
It is year 2157 and Margie wrote in her diary that Tommy found a real book. She was talking about how Tommy's grandfather told him about the book he read. The pages were all yellow and crinkly and stories were printed on it. The words on the paper stood still instead of moving the way they did today on the screen. And when they turned back to the page before, the same words appeared there that it had when they read it for the first time. Tommy found this very funny. He said, "What a waste! When you are through with the book, you just throw it away." Our television screen must have had 1,000,000 books on it, and it's good for plenty more. I wouldn't throw it away. Margie was curious to know from where Tommy got that book. "I found it in my house in the attic," he said. Margie was 11 years old and Tommy 13. When she learned that the book was about school, she was even more surprised since she wondered what there was to write about schools. Margie always hated school, but now she hated it more than ever. The mechanical teacher had been giving her test after test in geography, and she had been doing worse until her mother had shaken her head sorrowfully and sent for the county inspector. The man was a round little man with a red face, and with the help of a box of tools he took the teacher apart. The mother was little apprehensive whether he would be able to put the teacher back, which he finally did. The new teacher was large and black and ugly too. It had a big screen on which all the lessons were shown and the questions were asked. Margie disliked the slot where she had to put homework and test papers. She had to write them in a punch code they made her learn when she was 6 years old, and the mechanical teacher calculated the marks in no time. The inspector smiled and tapped Margie's head and said to her mother, "It's not the little girl's fault, Mrs. Johns. I think the geography sector was geared a little too quick. Those things happen sometimes. I have slowed it up to an average 10-year-old level." Actually, the overall pattern of her progress is quite satisfactory. Margie was not at all happy. She thought they would take the teacher away altogether. She remembered that they had taken away Tommy's teacher for a month since the history sector had blanked out completely. She asked Tommy, why would anybody write about school? Tommy looked at her and said, "Because it's not our kind of school. This is the old kind of school that they had hundreds and hundreds of years ago, actually centuries ago." Margie was hurt. She wasn't sure what kind of teacher they had, but they did have a teacher, she thought. Tommy told her that the teacher was a man in those days. A man! How could be man a teacher? Margie was surprised. Well, he just told the boys and girls things and gave them homework and asked questions, informed Tommy. Margie wondered how a man could be that smart. "Sure he is. My father knows as much as my teacher," Tommy said. Margie didn't want to argue that, but she said she didn't want a strange man in her home. Tommy laughed aloud and said, "You don't know much, Margie. The teachers didn't live in the house. They had a special building and all the kids went there." Margie was then surprised to learn that all the students learned the same things if they were the same age. "But my mother says a teacher has to be adjusted to fit the mind of each boy and girl it teaches," and that each kid has to be taught differently. Tommy informed her just the same they didn't do it that way then. If you don't like it, you don't have to read the book. Margie found this very funny. Margie's mother called her and Tommy. School, she said. Margie looked up. Not yet, Mama. Now, said she, and it's probably time for Tommy too. Margie said to Tommy, can I read the book some more with you after school? Maybe he walked away with the dusty old book tucked beneath his arm. Margie went into her schoolroom, which was right next to her bedroom, and the mechanical teacher was on and waiting for her. It was always on at the same time every day except Saturday and Sunday, because her mother said little girls learned better if they learned at regular hours. The screen was lit up and it said, today's arithmetic lesson is on addition of proper fractions. Please insert yesterday's homework in proper slot. Margie did so with a sigh. She was thinking about the old schools they had when her grandfather's grandfather was a little boy, and all the school children came to the school together, studied together, and went home together. They learned the same things and helped each other and talked about it. And the teachers were real people. The mechanical teacher was flashing on the screen when we add fractions 1 by 2 and 1 by 4. Margie was thinking about how the kids must have loved it in the olden days and the fun they had.
Friends, now click this video for English workshop. Okay.